Good afternoon. I would now like to call to order a meeting today for the Allegany County Board of Education, Tuesday, April 12th at 5:05 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Llewellyn will now read closed session summaries for executive sessions held on March 8th, 2022.
The Allegany County Board of Education met in closed session at 4 o'clock on March 8, 2022, here at Central Office. The purpose of the closed session was to consult with legal counsel, consider matters related to collective bargaining, and to engage in administrative function. All 5 board members were present and voted to move into closed session. Topics discussed were Allegany wiretap issue, Arts Council Market Street building project, and negotiations update. The meeting was closed under the provisions of the General Provisions article of the Maryland Code, Section 3305B 7 and 9.
Thank you, Mr. Llewellyn. The consent agenda, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Farrell, second by Dr. Bond. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving into the superintendent's report. First, we have a proclamation recognizing April as Library Media Month that Mrs. Fraley will read for us.
Whereas April 2022 has been designated School Library Month and April 3rd through the 9th of 2022 as National Library Week. And whereas the Library Media Program is to ensure that students and staff are effective users of ideas and information, and whereas the Library Media Specialist role is to provide the leadership and expertise necessary to ensure that the Library Media Program is an integral part of the instructional program of the school, and whereas the Board of Education has entrusted the Library Media Specialist in each school to teach the skills of locating and using information through traditional resources and new technologies, to provide literature appreciation activities, and to guide and encourage content and recreational reading to every student in the Library Media Program. And whereas lifelong learning begins and is systematically developed through the Library Media curriculum of the elementary and secondary schools, and whereas the Library Media Program contributes to the individual growth and development of all students while fostering both excellence and equity in education. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Education of Allegany County, endorse the observance of the month of April as School Library Month and National Library Week, April 3rd through the 9th. Connect with your library. It's signed by Crystal Bender, President, and Jeffrey Blank, Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you. Mr. Brewer, our supervisor, couldn't be here with us this evening, so I'll make sure that he gets that after the break.
Mr. Farrell has another proclamation presenting April as Mathematics and Statistics Awareness Month to be presented to Dr. Thompson. And then Dr. Thompson, if you just want to remain up front and go into your math counts presentation immediately after.
Board of Education proclamation. Whereas April 2022 has been designated Math and Statistics Awareness Month by the Joint Policy Board of Mathematics, a collaborative effort of the American Mathematical Society, the American Statistical Association, and the Mathematical Association of America, and the Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics. Whereas both mathematics and statistics play a significant role in addressing many real-world problems as internet security, sustainability, disease, climate change, and data deluge, and more. Whereas research in mathematics, statistics, and other areas is ongoing, revealing new results and applications every day in the fields such as medicine, manufacturing, energy, biotechnology, and business. And whereas mathematics and statistics are important drivers of innovation in our technology world, in which new systems and methodologies continue to become more complex. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Education of Allegany County, endorse the observance of the month of April as Mathematics and Statistics Awareness Month. In Allegany County Public Schools is an opportunity to support a full month of programs and initiatives dedicated to promoting better public understanding of mathematics and statistics. in witness thereof, and signed by Crystal Bender, President of the Board of Education, and Jeffrey Blank, Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you. In recognition of Mathematics and Statistics Awareness Month, we typically provide recognition for students who have had significant accomplishments in mathematics over the course of this current school year. This evening, we'd like to recognize those middle school students who were participants in the Math Counts competition, and we have a high school student we'd like to recognize for a University of Maryland competition. So first, I'd like to call forward those who participated in the Math Counts competition series and their advisors. From Braddock Middle School, we have their advisor, Mr. Ray Short. Members of their team that qualified in the top 10 in the chapter. From Braddock, Corinna Hildebrand, who came in first. Bryce Bridges, who came in fifth. Jacqueline Gomer, who came in seventh. Colton Gary, who came in 10th. And then from Mount Savage Middle School, I'd like to recognize their advisor, Ms. Teresa Norris, their student Ethan Kwok, who came in third. And then we have a student from Washington Middle School who was unable to be with us this evening, Joshua Stewart, who finished 8th. So if those individuals would kindly step forward and face the board. Mr. Short. We have a certificate to recognize Braddock Middle School for their continued dominance in the chapter competition. I'll let Mr. Short explain how much of an achievement this has been for them and their continued success.
36 years out of the last 37, we've been regional champs, so we're real proud of that. And this young lady who finished first will be back with us next year because she's only a 7th grader. So I am missing one tonight, Colton Gary, who I guess was unable to attend, but we're real proud of the program and where it's been and where it's going and how we got through these 2 years. I have no idea, but we started out pretty good now this year again, so real proud of these guys.
Mr. Short, would you like to present a certificate to your individual participants?
Corinna?
She's taking pictures in the hallway.
Jacqueline Gomer, and we are missing one Colton Gary. Thank you.
And we've also got to back up so the line, so we can
You're smiling up at the top of your
Wow, we're off.
They talked to Ryan. Ryan's going to get a picture and then we'll put that on.
All right, next, I'd like to call forward the Math Counts Video Challenge participants from Mount Savage with their advisor, Ms. Teresa Norris. So all of you from Mount Savage Middle, please come forward. Mrs. Norris, if you would like to.
First of all, I can't tell you how proud I am of these kids and what they have accomplished. This is our semifinalist team, which means that they were in the top 12 out of about 2,000 videos nationally. So they're national semifinalists, which, considering that this is their first time ever doing this, is a wonderful accomplishment. My quarterfinalist team unfortunately could not be here tonight as they are all in jazz band and are playing at the jazz concert at Potomac State. I really really like the video challenge because it gives these kids a chance to be really creative with math, and it incorporates a lot of arts in. The boys team, which unfortunately is not here tonight, built for us an acoustic shell in a box so that we could record our voices without the echo from my classroom, which it's actually on display in Mount Savage right now. But like I said, I can't tell you how proud I am of these kids and just what they've done. It's been quite a ride.
Ms. Norris, if you'd like to present the individual certificates to your team members.
And Ainsley, Destiny, and Penny. Thank you. And Henry, thank you for coming out and supporting the team. I really appreciate you being here for us. All right, thank you. Hey, get back here. Back up. Penny, girls, back up. Get him closer. There you go.
And in 3, 2, 1, cheese. Perfect.
So our final recognition is for Colin Sheehy. So Colin, if you would please come forward, face the board. Colin is a veteran at coming to this event each May. He was an exceptional student through the math counts competition, and correct me, Mr. Short, but I believe came in first for 3 years. So Colin is an extreme talent. Currently a 10th grader at Allegany High School. Colin participated along with some other students across the district in the University of Maryland math competition. He was the only student in the district to make it through all rounds and was consequently recognized as the top competitor in this competition from Allegany County Schools. Again, as only a sophomore, there's plenty of room for him to keep moving up the ladder in his mathematical endeavors. We're very proud of everything that Colin has accomplished.
Three, two, one, cheese.
Dr. Thompson, I just wanted to share, as a math teacher, when these students go and compete at Math Counts, I know the parents, you already know this, it is incredible. I'll never forget our first experience. I was fortunate enough to be in Mr. Short's shoes years ago, working with Math Counts, and the having a showcase to be able to show what our students are capable of doing across the state of Maryland is just unreal. And when they went down there, I'll never forget when our team got done, and then they did the individual competition. And at that time, Mr. Short, we were at Annapolis. I didn't get to come to see any of that this year, but when the kids sit there and they still do the time clock, well, it's unbelievable. They put the problem up on the board, and the kids they got the answer. I'm still reading the problem. I was a math major. Okay, so, but these kids, giving them the opportunity to do this is such a great program to allow our mathematicians to shine. So we're so proud of all of our Math Counts support from mom and dad and from our advisors and our students. Fantastic, great job, way to go.
If any of the Math Count students want to leave, you may go ahead. It's entirely up to you all if you don't want to sit here. And then is Mrs. Loppert and Mr. White outside that they can step in?
They put a problem on the board and they hit that buzzer and we're all
All right. So good afternoon. It's indeed a distinct pleasure and honor to introduce the mock trial seniors who are going to represent our team today. And they are Emily Matheny, wave Emily, Brianna Plassick, and Erilyn Teeter. But I also have to mention the other names because they are quite a remarkable group of people. Tessa Gibson-Thiele, Kinsey Hostetler, Aiden Leith, Audrey Littman, Peyton McDonald, Madison Rule, Zachary Septoff, and Colin Sheehy. Colin you had seen earlier. So Mr. Brian White is the mock trial coach for Allegany, and he has indeed built a dynasty over the years with his expertise, diligence, and his attention to detail. My motto over the past few years has been to adapt, improvise, and overcome. And these students have had to indeed adapt, improvise, and overcome. They had to adapt at times to virtual matches, which were clearly not as effective as in-person matches. These students have had to improvise and enjoy a small awards luncheon in Mr. Brian White's classroom instead of the large awards luncheon that always occurs downstate provided by my law. And the weather didn't cooperate that morning, and we had a 3-hour delay, so they couldn't go. And these students certainly overcame by making it to the final 2 teams in the entire state of Maryland, public and private. And although they came up short to the Park School, the Superintendent Blank and I witnessed refined and eloquent attorneys and witnesses. And thank you, Mr. Blank, for attending. Before turning things over to Mr. Brian White to highlight the season, I will close by sharing Ms. Shelley Brown's comments to me at our classroom luncheon. And Shelley's the executive director of my law, and she made the trip specially to honor our kids, which was quite remarkable as well. And this is what she said to me. She said, Allegany is always well behaved and they're always refined. She said that the Allegany mock trial team is always expected to be in Annapolis and to always represent in the annual competition. So my hat's off to Mr. Brian White and certainly these young adults for a remarkable season. And I'll turn it over to Mr. White, and I won't let the young lady speak or you will not go home this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Loppert. I would like to also thank Ms. Loppert and the administration, Mr. Moran and Ms. Llewellyn for their support through the season. Ms. Loppert is, every time we've been to a state competition playoffs, she's there in the room with us, and I've been doing this a very long time, and Heidi's been there with me the entire time. I won't reveal how long because that'll tell a lot about us. Mock trial the last few years has been a challenge. Last year, the state did mock trial virtually, all virtually, and we were the only state in the United States that provided mock trial for its students. This year, we had 2 different divisions in the state. Half the state was in person, which we participated in the in-person matches, and then the other half of the state was virtual. So we won the division championship for the in-person competition, and Park won the virtual competition, and that put the 2 of us together in the state final match. As Ms. Loppert said, mock trial is one of the unique academic competitions in that you are competing against both public and private schools, and designation of school size doesn't matter. We're all in the mix. So I'm quite proud of these young men and women to get to this point, especially after the years that we had. And since Mr. Blank, we really appreciated you coming to, not only did you come to the state final match, but you also came to one of our regular season matches. And when I spoke to Shelley Brown of my law, she indicated she thinks you're the first superintendent ever to come to a state championship match, and she appreciated that as well. So I'm going to have the students present you with one of our Final Four t-shirts that we achieved.
Let me share. If I was going to object to anything, I know there's no way I'm using that word around this group. When we were down at States, just a quick story, we were getting objected, and then they turned the tables, and Emily, it was you, I believe, I know. We won the objection battles like crazy after that. I was in the back, and you're not allowed to say anything. but it was very hard to keep quiet. You wanted to cheer for the team, but congratulations and thank you. I appreciate that very much.
So again, thank you, and appreciate your recognition of the program.
Can I ask one question? The three seniors, can we ask what your intentions are for next year? Just out of curiosity. If you know, if you don't know, that's okay.
I warned them.
A little short, but I plan to go to college to be an elementary teacher.
Oh,
In
great.
the next couple of years, so I haven't figured out which college yet, but I will be attending one.
That's great.
I've already committed to Mount Aloysius College up in Crescent, Pennsylvania, to be an American Sign Language English interpreter. They're one of the 20 schools in the entirety of the United States that are accredited for American Sign Language English interpreting.
That's great.
I will be going to Allegany College of Maryland for psychology and criminal justice.
Fantastic.
Can we have the three of you and Mrs. Loppert and Mr. White for a picture in the center, please?
Come out here and then face the camera in the back.
Come this way a little bit and then turn and face the back.
I competed. I had a team when I taught at the Career Center, and I competed against Brian, and his team from Allegheny was always the strongest and the one to beat. I mean, Brian put so much effort into the kids, and I see it now more than I did then, that how much that helps the students whenever they go out to college and to get a job and whatever, that they're able to do better on interviews, and it is a building experience, and Brian does put so much effort into that. I don't want to thank you for that. I still think I beat you, but
Thank you.
And I'll say, when we walked in the building, everywhere we went, it's Mrs. Loppert and Mr. White, but it's Heidi and Brian all over the place. So Allegheny is so well known and respected down there. So congratulations to your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you.
You all are welcome to stay or welcome to step out, whatever you prefer.
They're all smart enough to save their own kind of
Next, we'll be recognizing our Carson Scholars. If Dr. Welsh and her guests are out there, come on in.
All right, good evening, Mr. Blank and Ms. Bender and the members of the board. It is my pleasure this evening to have the opportunity to recognize the 2022 ACPS Carson Scholars. Since 1996, the Carson Scholars Fund has awarded $1,000 college scholarships to students in grades 4 through 11 who excel academically and are dedicated to serving their communities. Scholarship winners receive the honor of being named Carson Scholars and are awarded an Olympic-sized medal and a trophy for their school to celebrate their accomplishments. Previous winners of Carson Scholarships are eligible to reapply for Carson Scholar recognition annually. The ACPS Board of Education recognizes the new Carson Scholars who have been awarded scholarships each academic year, and the schools recognize previous winners who have received additional recognition. Carson Scholars must have a minimum GPA of 3.75 and display humanitarian qualities through community service. Scholarships are awarded solely on the basis of academic achievement and humanitarian qualities without regard to financial need, ethnicity, creed, or religion. This evening, we are so pleased to recognize the 3 new 2022 Carson Scholar winners and present each with a certificate. First, from Mount Savage Middle School, we have Jolene Whetstone. Jolene is an 8th grader and has earned a 4.0 GPA in accelerated coursework, including Spanish 1 and algebra. Jolene works with the elementary school guidance department in the SHOP, which is Students Helping Other People program, and assists weekly with PBIS incentives. Jolene is also active in community service beyond the school by raising funds and awareness for the Mitochondrial Disease Foundation and Children's Hospital. She has won multiple awards for her volunteerism and through her service to others has become inspired to pursue a career as a pediatric nurse. Jolene. And after we get the certificates, we'll get a picture up here, I believe. All right. Next, Oliver Now is a 5th grade student at Parkside Elementary. He is a straight-A student, a member of AEP, is in the school's Lego robotics team, and plays saxophone in the school band. He loves participating in local theater and has been in over 10 productions over the last few years. He is also an active student at Mountain City Center for the Arts. Oliver is a wildly curious person who loves to learn and collaborate with his class and his castmates. Oliver? And finally, Connor Sheehy is a Northeast Elementary 5th grader. Connor plays 2 percussion instruments in his elementary school band. In school, he especially enjoys working on art projects and helping students with math. Because of his desire to help others, Connor volunteered as a class teacher for the math concepts of dividing and perimeter. He plays floor hockey at the YMCA and loves to go sled riding. Last year, he was recognized by Mayor Ray Morris, along with the other 5 students in his school's first LEGO League robotics team, for the design and installation of 2 trash ball stations for garbage collections at Constitution Park. He also helped his family decorate the entire Riverside Park, including George Washington's headquarters, for Christmas as a volunteer with the Cumberland Garden Club. Connor? Congratulations to all the winners, and a big thank you to the families and school staff that applied for the recognition and came out to support the students. With the whole group or by school? Okay. All right, that's great. If the whole group will come up here and face this direction towards the cameras, and we'll get a
Right, in 3, 2, 1, cheese. Parents are going to snap some photos.
All right. Congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations, guys. You're welcome to step out if you're not staying for the rest of the meeting. Okay, if Mrs. Ramsey is here, and we'll be recognizing the Allegheny County Teacher of the Year.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting us here. We just saw some excellent student celebrations, and today we're here to honor our Allegheny County Teacher of the Year. So I would like to introduce Mrs. Amy Rice, and thank you for your ongoing support of the Teacher of the Year program. I sincerely appreciate it, and being able to have funding to have high quality virtual celebrations with Allegheny Media, who is also joining us here tonight. So Mrs. Amy Rice from Cache Valley Elementary School. Amy Rice is a graduate of Frostburg State University, where she received her master's degree in curriculum and instruction and her bachelor's degree in early childhood elementary education. She is currently a 2nd grade teacher at Cache Valley Elementary School, where she has taught for 25 years. Mrs. Rice serves as a chairperson of the school's leadership team and is a member of the STEM Technology Action Team to encourage family engagement and community partnerships. She also serves as a mentor for student interns from Frostburg State University. Mrs. Rice has served her community as a coach for youth soccer and the school's Lego League. She has been nominated for the Sally Mae First Class Teacher Award. So I'd like to present this certificate to Mrs. Amy Rice on behalf of the board-elect. and she has some words prepared for you as well. I'm certain that Mrs. Amy Rice will represent us well as she competes at the state level. And thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I also wanted to say thank you so much for this honor and to thank the members of the board and Superintendent Blank for the support that you give to the Teacher of the Year program. It is greatly appreciated. I've always been proud to say that I'm a part of the Allegany County Public School System. Our county's educators go above and beyond every day to make sure that the needs of all of their students are met, and somehow they manage to make that look easy. But behind the scenes, I know for a fact it's a different story. The teachers, administrators, and support staff work tirelessly to make each student's learning experience the best it can be. They give 100%, I should have said 110%, every day during the school day, and then most of them continue that work on their own time, giving up countless nights and weekends to prepare to deliver the instruction that they know their students deserve. These efforts have never been more evident than during the past few years when everyone has needed to pull together to make the best of so many challenging situations. I know that I'm not alone when I say that I do not know how I would have survived all of the changes we've been through without the support of my wonderful work family. I am honored to have been chosen to represent not only my colleagues at Cache Valley, but all of the dedicated educators across our county who work hard every day. I'm grateful not only for the opportunity to work with such an exceptional group of people, but to also have those caring educators teaching my own child. I look forward to representing Allegany County Public Schools in the Maryland Teacher of the Year program, and I am extremely excited for my journey to begin.
Just a quick comment. Amy, congratulations. And when I visited the school that morning, I walked in and they're playing, I've got to tell the story. They're playing You Raise... No questions. The students weren't there yet. We're all there, obviously, well in advance of that. But the music was You Raised Me Up over the PA, because I'm in the office first, and then I'm heading to your classroom, and they were already playing the music. And then the next song, I won't. Yeah, but let me put it this way: as I was walking through the open space, every teacher was dancing. They were all celebrating. And Amy, the reason I bring that up, that's a direct reflection of you, because it was a we, and they were so supportive. And for that, to see that, that's already knowing that, but seeing that just put an exclamation point on you being chosen as Teacher of the Year. So congratulations.
Thank you. And I said in my family, and I look forward to working with them every day.
It's obvious. You're all one solid team, and you celebrate together. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mrs. Rice. Thank you, Mrs. Ramsey. And do we have Dr. Main with a blueprint update?
Good evening. I'm Wendy Main. I am your Blueprint for Maryland's future county coordinator. It's nice to be here tonight. Mr. Blank did ask that I come in and just give a brief overview of the blueprint for where we are in April of 2022. So first, I remembered. So first on the agenda, we'll just talk briefly that I'm going to talk about the history of the law. We'll talk about the major policy areas, the timeline, the plan development, and any resources that you would like to look at after. Just a brief bit of history on the Blueprint for Maryland's future. In 2020, this landmark piece of legislation was passed. It's also known as House Bill 1300, and it included the recommendations of the Kerwin Commission on the Innovation and Excellence of Education. The bill was vetoed, but then in 2021, House Bill 1372 was passed, and that was passed to complement House Bill 1300. The new bill included legislation and revisions that address the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on school systems, and also revised timelines for the implementation of the bill. Both bills should be considered, and the bill outlines a plan to be implemented in roughly 10 years. So we'll take the next 10 years or so to implement everything that's in the legislation. It's a 253-page bill. It's pretty lengthy. The blueprint for Maryland's future policy areas include 4 major areas that's directly related to the systemic operation of our schools, and also a 5th, which is governance and accountability, that provides the Accountability and Implementation Board, which is known as the AIB, to provide general oversight. You can see a short summary of the policy areas, and we will just outline briefly each one. Policy area number 1 is early childhood education. If you look down through the bullets, you'll see some of the highlights in the bill in this policy area. It does include the expansion of free full-day pre-K, the expansion of family support centers, Judy centers, and infant and toddler programs, the implementation of accreditation through Maryland Excels for all of our pre-K programs, and also the coordination of transportation for both public and private pre-Ks. So that's just a brief outline. I did not go through all of the bullets. Policy area number 2, high quality and diverse teachers and leaders. You can see down through the list of some of the highlights, including the establishment of a minimum statewide salary, the implementation of performance-based career ladder, the creation of a leadership development system to prepare school leaders at all levels to implement the blueprint. Beginning this July, the provision of stipends to teachers who hold national board certification. And also there's an area in the blueprint that talks about assistant principals and principals spending time in a classroom. Policy area number 3, career and college readiness. The blueprint establishes an internationally benchmarked curriculum that enables students to obtain college and career ready status by the end of their 10th grade year. And then pathways that include early college, advanced placement courses, and rigorous technical education. The blueprint does implement a 9th grade tracking system, alternative education approaches for students in middle and early high school that don't look like they're likely to meet the CCR standard, and also every middle and high school student with access to individuals who can counsel and advise on CTE readiness pathway options. Policy area number 4, resources to ensure all students are successful. This policy area includes broad and sustained academic and health supports for school and students most in need. And there you can see providing after school and summer academics, enrichment, and student access to health and social services. Increased funding for special education and EL students. A creation of a program for schools with high concentrations of poverty. Does include transitional supplemental instruction for struggling learners, a focus on trauma, behavior, and SEL components, and more equitable distribution of system resources to ensure that the number of experienced staff are distributed widely along all of our schools. Last, policy area 5 is governance and accountability. It does include the establishment of the AIB, in which I spoke. They will provide a template for a comprehensive implementation plan that we will be responsible for. It evaluates the outcomes of the blueprint, and it provides general oversight. They are in starting to dispatch expert review teams, which are groups of professionals around the state that will come into each county and look at our implementation plans and some of our initiatives. So that's not in place quite yet. Okay, the timeline. We have been busy. So as you can see there, there's many things completed already down through there. They just did release a tentative timeline in which March 15th, 2023 is the due date for the implementation plan, the countywide implementation plan. So we're awaiting templates and waiting for the AIB and MSDE to kind of talk together to decide what that's going to be comprised of. Okay, the next steps for our county will be to continue to explore the priority areas of early childhood education and CCR. We have had district level steering committees, which include the senior staff. And our next steps when we get direction from the AIB will be to take a look at our steering committees and our county folks to make sure that we're meeting the blueprint requirements. Okay. This is a 10-year plan, and we're just beginning, so lots of work to do. Finally, if you'd like for more resources, there is a blueprint page on the MSDE website, and also MABE has a page dedicated directly to blueprint initiatives. And then coming soon, we will have our own ACPS website as part of our information. And I will certainly keep Mr. Blank and senior staff advised of anything that we hear and know, and we look forward to working with you. Okay.
Dr. Main, I wanted to mention for everyone that the blueprint, there are so many questions. I was with Dr. Kerwin on Friday with the AIB. They don't even have the committee set yet. There's supposed to be 15 on that, and they're hoping to do that by January. So we appreciate you keeping us informed as things change, and sometimes it's real slow, and I'm sure it'll speed up here eventually. But keeping a thumb on what we need to do and what we don't need to do until we know exactly what they're asking for. So we certainly appreciate your leadership during this time with so many questions.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Right, I appreciate that. You guys have a great evening.
Any board members have any questions for Dr. Main before she steps out? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
In our instructional report, Mr. Blank will provide a middle school update schedule.
Thank you, Mrs. Bender. Middle school scheduling change for the 22-23 school year. After a thorough analysis of assessment and diagnostic data, as well as discussing middle school academic challenges and needs, the district will move forward with a new middle school schedule in the fall. I've had conversations with Dr. Caldwell. She could not be here this evening. So from Dr. Caldwell to the supervisors, and as I'll continue through here, is a collaborative planning to come up with a schedule. In this new schedule, students will be able to have both reading and math intervention. Due to the COVID pandemic and with the learning loss, we have a high percentage of students in grades 6 through 8 who will need both intervention services. Students who are performing at or above grade level in reading and mathematics will participate in acceleration experiences for their reading and math lab. So we will be able to give the intervention for both reading and math for all of our students. Students will still have science and social studies each day. PE and creative arts classes such as art, music, and technology will still continue on the AB day. This new schedule will provide teachers with an increased amount of time for planning purposes, along with professional development, team planning, and things that will be needed for strategies to help implement the new structure here for the middle school. Central office instructional staff, the 4 principals, the middle school teachers who serve as reading and math specialists provided input on these changes. So again, we've worked collaboratively with all those who have all those players we've gotten input to determine what our best strategy to move forward to see, and as we move forward, if we need to make adjustments to that throughout the next year, we'll continue to do that. So we wanted to give just an update on where we are with the middle schools, because we are currently staffing for this plan for our middle school with the extra intervention math and ELA teachers. So I'll take any questions at this point.
Are there any questions for Mr. Bank? Mrs. Fraley?
Just a point of clarification, which I kind of know the answer, but I know that people have asked already before. I know some of the middle schools were on a pilot program of changing of the schedules, and some were not, and I believe this is changing everybody to that schedule, right?
Yeah, all 4 middle schools will be on the consistent schedule so that we can meet the needs, the instructional needs with the intervention options, yes.
And just because I know somebody's asked me, Braddock Middle School is one of those that is changing. And I don't know what the other ones are that weren't on the program, but I know that I specifically was asked if Braddock was changing. So I just wanted to put that out there. If we know what the other schools are that are changing versus what they are today, that would be helpful.
Yeah, Westmar and Mount Savage are changing. Washington is familiar with the block scheduling, but everyone's changing to a degree to be able to do the intervention for both content areas.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Blank. Moving into unfinished business, we have 2 policies for second read, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Llewellyn.
You have policy GDN for second reading. This is evaluation of classified employees. I told you last time, this was a policy that got lost back in 2012 when 2 policy manuals were merged. And so this Human Resources would like to have this policy back on the books. And if you approve it tonight, then then it will be effective after the vote.
Motion to approve second reading of policy GDN, evaluation of classified employees.
Motion by Mrs. Fraley. Is there a second? Second by Dr. Bond. Any questions for Mr. Llewellyn regarding the policy? All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
You have a new policy, IHBCA. It's on second reading. It's a policy that is required by Maryland law for us to enact, and it is to support and improve the educational outcome of pregnant and parenting students.
Motion to approve for second reading policy IHBCA, support and improve the educational outcome of pregnant and parenting students.
Motion by Mrs. Fraley. Second. Second, Dr. Bond. Any questions regarding the policy? All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to hearing of constituents. I believe we have 1 person signed up to speak. Is there a Mr. Pfeiffer? Nicole didn't wave at anyone, did she? Okay. So we will keep moving then into new business. Another policy, Mr. Llewellyn.
You have before you policy ECF. And so this is a policy that's been on the books for a while, but the state legislature passed a law last year that's going to radically change how we approach energy conservation within the system. And so we have the policy for you tonight. We're hoping to have the regulation before July for you. But the law requires the system to track its energy consumption and then come up with guidelines and goals for conservation and efficiency, and to also increase its use of renewable energy and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So this is your first reading of this change to the energy conservation policy.
Motion to approve first reading of energy conservation policy, ECF.
Motion by Dr. Bond, second by Mrs. Fraley. Any questions regarding the energy policy? All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
You next have policy GDPB. So this is a new policy. However, again, this is a version of an old policy that was lost in the transition back in 2012. So we're bringing that to the fore. It just deals with the method for employees who are resigning to resign.
Motion to approve first reading of resignation of classified employees, files GDPB.
Motion by Dr. Bond, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Farrell. Any questions? Mrs. Fraley?
Does this policy, just by the numbering of it, is there a policy that does a definition of classified employees, or should we have that in the policy like we do some of these others that have definitions?
Yes, I think you do have a definition of classified employees. I can't cite it to you off the top of my head. I'm sorry, here it is. Luckily, policy GDN gives a definition of classified employee. It's an employee who's in Unit 3 and Unit 4.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
I need to go play the lottery. That was lucky. Next, you have before you the regulation for evaluation of classified employees. This is GDNR1. And of course, this is a regulation, so the board just reviews. If the board has any objections, it goes back to policy committee. Otherwise, there's no vote required.
Are there any questions or objections regarding regulation GDNR1? No? Okay, thank you. This time, can I have a motion to meet in executive session on May 10th? No, I'm sorry, where?
I have one more. Yeah, before you, regulation IHBCA R1. It's right here. Again, this you guys just approved on second reading under old business IHBCA, which is to support and improve the educational outcome of pregnant and parenting students. This is the accompanying regulation. I should have mentioned before, these are based off of the model policy that was produced by MDE to comply with the change in the state law. And again, this is a regulation, so it's for review. If you object, then it will go back to policy committee. Otherwise, after tonight, it'll become effective.
Any questions or objections? That it? Now, can I ask for a motion to meet in executive session on May 10th, 2022 as necessary?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Farrell, second by Dr. Bond. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Neither of our student members were able to be with us this evening. And are there any other board member updates? Okay, at this time then, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Mr. Farrell, second. Dr. Bond, all those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. All have a good evening.